All right, welcome to Craps Chat. This is episode 12, season 3 here. I'm John from Pro Craps. I'm actually coming in here and taking the throne or the seat, whatever you want to call it, the driver's seat from Chris JusticeJen. Normally he is the host of the show, but he's out tonight. And I think it's appropriate for us to kind of just keep him in our thoughts. He and some others are I'm not going to get into details, but a lot of folks are going through a lot of things right now. And it's a tough time for a lot of people. And I think it just bears repeating, I think, as much as we can, that, we're all, whatever, craps players and gamblers, and we have fun on these shows and all that stuff. But behind the cameras and behind the videos, there's real people. And sometimes real people don't always have it so easy. So just know that we're thinking about you, Chris, and everybody else who's got something going on. But that said, let me bring the panel in here. We got our regular crew here. Let's go to the full panel screen. And I've got Jen, and I've got Craig, and I've got Dylan from Skill and Luck. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Good to have you back here. Yeah. So we'll kick things off like we normally do. We'll do our come out roll, and that's an opportunity for y'all to spend about 30 seconds to a minute just sort of saying what you want to say. Everybody in the audience, by the way, do this for me. If you want to talk to us, just do a Q something. And I'll cue those up. Haha. And we'll get to your questions during the show. I'll feather them in as I can. We'll save some good ones for the end. But in the meantime, let's come on out, and we'll go to Jen first. Jen, what are you coming out on tonight?
Yeah, hi, everyone. It's been, okay. Hi, everyone. It's been a couple of weeks, or a couple of episodes. I've missed you all. What I want to say is, please, this year, let's play to win money. Forget about the comps, especially as casinos are getting a lot stingier lately, although I think they're going to have to open up their wallets. Just play to win money. Forget about the comps. They'll come naturally.
Well said. I think that's going to be a topic for later on, Jen. Maybe, huh? I think if we can never talk about that enough. I think winning gets lost sometimes in the sea of free pizza. So, all right, Craig, what do you got, man?
What do I got? I told Chris I'd come out on this, so I'm coming out on this. I need everybody to take a little chill pill on attacking people who want to use the new Gen AI or Suno AI for theme songs. It's a new fad. It's a new thing, and it's pretty freaking cool. For nerds like John and us who like to throw a description of a video in and then automatically comes out as a 4-minute podcast with 2 different female and male voices going at it, like it's been on, like a podcast has been on for a whole season. It's fun. I actually played with it over the weekend. I've got 6 to choose from. My family's they've pared it down to 2. They are 2 different styles. I may even use one on the beginning and as an entrance and an exit for a countdown. But it's fun. It's a fad. It's going to pass. It's going to come and go. I'll probably go back. But the thing is, hosts, we get kind of bored with the themes that we've created that have been going on for over 2-3 years. It's kind of boring to us. So, we're always trying to get new people to watch our shows, but we have a lot of static people and people that have been here a while and they just heard the same thing. So, look out for some new AI generated theme songs from Obey and some others. I think they're fun.
I love it.
There you go.
It is stupidly fun. Like I'm always dumbfounded by how AI just, hey, I like heavy metal and I'm a craps player and I do a show every day. Make me a song, and like 8 seconds later you've got some song. It's unbelievable how good it does. And it just, for me, it's kind of a toy. I've always done the ASMR thing on my morning shows. It's just the coffee brewing and that kind of stuff and like a little murmuring background. It's good to just have a 30-second kind of countdown while things are going. The songs are kitschy and cool. I don't know. They're totally nerdy, right? And it's like, what's going to worry me is when AI makes a song for me when I don't ask for it. Like I'm going to get an email from Sumo saying, hey, you should have a theme song, and here it is. That'll worry me.
No, it'll become real when AI starts making rules as we're playing craps instead of live dealer.
God. Can you imagine? Wow. Okay, Dylan, what are you coming out on today?
Just keeping our bets simple. Back to basics. Just keep it back to basics more than anything. And one-on-one stuff. So, and with getting in with the AI stuff, there's everything comes in cycles. AI is probably going to be here to stay. There's nothing, we're going to get used to it. It's just another a new tool, and we're going to be using, we're constantly innovating with new tools and stuff. So, you can't fight City Hall, most of the time, and we just have to adapt to different changes and stuff. So, take it, leave it, whatever. We don't have to like it, but we don't have to rail against it either. So there's a common balance of everything. It's just don't get upset about bullshit.
And there's the first four-letter word of the night. Came from Dylan. Whoever had
That's the name of Dylan's new book.
I think, what's funny about that, though? I think you're right. And I think, and I'll open this up to everybody, obviously, but like keeping it simple. The other day I did that big, and I read the breakdown, right? Which is kind of like watching paint dry for most people. For nerds like me, doing the same 45 roles with 8 different people playing it the same, their way. It's boring data gathering, but at the same time, you find out that in the end, although we say nothing matters, it kind of does matter how you play. Like the aggressiveness or passiveness that you play with matters. And I think that weird metric that I come up with, oh my God, stop the presses.
Stop the presses.
Y'all see who just showed up? Holy crap and crap. Look who's here. Look who's here. Vince Armenti has, oh my God. Vince is here. Wow.
We're
We're
going
going
to
to start making videos soon. Woo! As David would
Break
do.
out the rooster bin.
There it is.
You've been missed, dude. You've been missed.
Back.
Time for wing crap shows again.
Welcome back. That's awesome. But to go back to the point, though, right? When I did that analysis in that data gathering, I think it's interesting to look at, okay, super aggressive, super passive, combating, all those things, they all make money. It all comes down to what you want to do. I think keeping it simple is excellent, right? The guy who just same betted every time still made $1,000. The come better who kept it simple made $6,000. The guys who were more aggressive in different ways made more money, but had to do more work. Ultimately, I think it's funny that JB wrote back to that show series, and he said, dude, stop doing this. If you want the highest efficiency, just take one hit and go home. Every day, forever, or every session, forever. And it's like, duh. Keeping it simple is the simplest way to make money. We try to overcomplicate things, and we end up hurting ourselves, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, you're the one that came up with, not came up, but you probably others did it too. But that YOLO that you did for a while, yeah, one hit, get out, get in, get out, right?
That YOLO has worked for me, by the way.
I think the problem is people don't want to be at the casino for a short period of time.
Right.
Well, the YOLO as a side bet is how I've made it work. Like I like the YOLO. The YOLO to me, if anybody wants to do it, the best place to do it is at stadium craps. Honestly, because you can be tactical with it. Like I sit at stadium craps and play, and I have a ticket that was $64. I drop it in there, and I'm going to go, all right, now, and I do all across and hope that person doesn't throw a 7. If they don't, and I get some money, I cash the ticket out, and I stick it over here for later, and then I play my regular way for a while, and then later on, a different shooter comes up, put the YOLO ticket back in again. You're not like having to respread chips around like a maniac, right? It's a fun little side bet. Jen, you have your hand up.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
Just a super quick comment about YOLO before I go. The point that I wanted to make was whatever happened to your YOLO because you're putting it at risk like every time. So clearly it died at some point because you're just putting it to the guillotine every single time, right? So give us an update on that after I asked this other question, which was, oh, holy moly. Your example when you wrote, like was it Friday Follies where you did, this is what happens when you same bet, but it was like a monster roll. It's just not a great example. Show us one where you have like, just get something that's more common so we can really see the difference. Because on a monster roll, we know the same bettor is not going to do better than someone who's going to press or 3-point molly.
Sure.
I mean, that's not, you don't have to be a newbie you don't have to be a veteran to know that.
For sure. And I think you're right. I think I did that because everybody's playing for the monster, right? And I always hear this negative feedback about certain ways of playing. Like, oh, if you're too aggressive, you're going to lose all your money or whatever. And I wanted to see really, not every monster roll is created the same. Some of them have tons of horn numbers in them. That one the other day had all these weird buckshots in it. I'm like, that's going to be interesting to see how a pressing person would have reacted to all the buckshots where you're not getting a chance to press, and did it impact them? You know what I mean? But you're right. I think doing that same thing with like a 9 roller or a 6 roller would be super interesting to see. You know, because most of your rolls are going to be in that lower echelon, that lower grouping anyway. So, what did you have? What was your question on the YOLO
what happened
again?
to your YOLO? What happened to your YOLO? Like
the one on my
happened?
show or the one in real life?
No, in real life. I remember you had it pressed up a bit.
I did. So I had one YOLO that I got to 1,500, and I cashed it out. That was when I was in Vegas with the family the last time, or 2 times ago. The last YOLO that I had it up to about $300, and then I burned it. And so I haven't been back since. So when I go back this time, I'll do a new YOLO. I'll start a new ticket with that on it. And what I'm going to do this time is once I get it up, I'm going to always keep $64 in reserve, or whatever the starting point was, just in reserve. So I'll go all across except for what I started with. Once I get past a certain point, that way it just kind of runs on its own steam. But yeah, I torched it a trip or two ago. I torched it, but it wasn't up very high. It had gotten to a point, I think like $350 or something like that, and I torched it. The one that was really high, I'll tell you what, from $64, I was sweating that thing out. And it was ultimately was $64 I would have lost. But when the bets got to like, 1,400 across, whatever it was, I was like, I was freaking out a little bit. And I'm like, it's only $65. What do I care? But it was just the excitement. Of course, everybody at the stadium pit was watching what was going on. It was super exciting, and they're all like, don't pick me. So
hot potato bit backwards, huh?
Yeah, well, they would know because I would stand up and go, okay, here we go. And they're all like, oh, shit. Now I can't throw a 7. So anyway, who else has thoughts on that?
Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of us who want to participate should do a challenge. $100, run it up, YOLO it or whatever, and whoever see how you can run it up till Craps for the Cure. And we're gonna all donate it. If you want your $100 back, go ahead. But then, and then the winner, we all have to pony up an additional $10 to the winner, right?
Love
and
it.
then you kind of have to film or do a screenshot of the ticket as you cash in and cash out, right?
Yeah.
Each time. I guess if you really want to cheat, but you're cheating charity, yeah. I guess you can. If there's like $812.62, you can just make a ticket for that, but. We'll be looking at the times and stuff, but let's do it. I mean, you're gonna YOLO it with me next week, John. Let's just do some verticals, like some quick short films.
Short verticals.
Yeah. I have to mute while I
John
type.
Took it to 1,500. The next one would have gone to 5,000, right? I mean, really, you're going 1,500 across, except for $64. You're just a hop and a skip away from $5,000.
Yeah. Do you remember when I did the YOLO on my show way back? This is probably 3 years ago. And I did every morning after the music played, I did a YOLO, and we did $64, and I got like 120 grand. And once you cross some weird line, now you're making like $6,000-$7,000 a morning. And again, it's so stupid how you get like nervous. I would dread the morning show because I'm like, oh God, I got to go out here with 75K on this YOLO shot. And I seriously sweat. My palms are sweating. It's so nuts, Anyway, yeah, I'll bring it back to my show. I love your idea, Jen, about doing something for the charity. That's great. And I actually spelled CFTC wrong in the thing there. So let me mute myself and retype that while you guys.
We have some questions. Should we focus on some of those?
Go for it.
Start with Duracells.
I'm talking like you can hear me. I have to remember to mute. Yeah, there are some questions here. So Duracell, and this is a great question. What does the panel think of my new efficiency metric that I created out of the blue? I can tell you this, JB certainly hates it because he says I made it up out of thin air. What do you guys think?
What is it?
I don't even know what you're talking about. Yeah.
The efficiency metric was this. What I did was when I broke down the monster rolls, right? I said, look, we're going to start with whatever we're starting with, right? And let's say that I think the guy that was 164 or just did 64 across, or no, 160 across and never pressed, he won $1,000, right? He lost 160 when the 7 came out. So he generated 1,000, lost 160. In the end, his profit was the sum of that, right? The guy that won the most, he took 7,000 to the rack, left 6,500 on the felt. So his play style generated $13,000, but he only profited, or only took of the 13,000 that was generated, $7,000 he got to keep because he lost 6,500 bucks. So his efficiency was less than half. It's like 48% or something like that, or 51% efficiency. Like, you burned so much of your potential winnings by playing that style. So the new metric I came up with was that efficiency rating. Like, yeah, you brought 6K to your rack, which is the number that matters. But if you generated 15,000 and only profited, 6, how efficient were you? Right. And that was the metric that I created out of thin air. And a lot of people don't like it because it's a weird one.
Yeah.
But to me, it tells me like how well did I play that day?
No, I hate to agree with JB. You know how much I hate to agree with JB. But he's right. In the end, you're talking about relative success, and it doesn't matter, right? You win. Let's say, Craig brings 500 to the table, and he's won, $200. So he's won 40%, and he's like, woo! And I bring 10,000 to the table, and I win, $3,000, right? It's still 30%, but it's the 3,000 that matters. That was a terrible example. I was just using easy numbers. But I would rather win a ton and waste a bunch to win a lot more than to say, look at me, I'm a 100% winner because I put $18 on the 8 and it won $21 and now I won 100%. I'm way better than this other person, VDT, who's won like $80,000, but he had to spend $50,000 to win $80,000. I'd rather be VDT.
From a pure dollars perspective, I get it, right?
Maybe,
I get the dollars argument. I'm talking about percentages, and it's like, did I burn too? Because a lot of people say that, right? You burned so much money when the 7 came. You had $8,000 out there, you idiot, right? And so that was a way for me to figure out what percentage of what I created did I burn. That's all that the efficiency metric is. It's just how much did I blow on the 7, and for Dylan, who loves to regress. That's him going, you got to regress. That's why you regress, because you don't want to burn 51% of your generated money. That was what he would probably, I'm guessing, I'm putting words in your mouth, Dylan, but that's what I hear you in my ears going, if you would have regressed, your efficiency would have been way more. It's not an efficiency of anything other than that decision of when to stop playing, I suppose, right?
But if I've invested $1 million into a house and my house is now worth $1.2 million, I've only made 20% on this house. I've only made a measly $200,000 because it's 20%. But let's say you invested in a business that was worth $10,000 and you've made, $20,000. You've been 100% success. But who's more successful? I mean, I think it's not. I guess it just doesn't matter. I think you're looking for who's a better, or, who's just a more efficient player. But to me, in the end, it's like results. It takes a lot of money to make money. So I actually truly believe this, that you need to actually risk that money on the felt, or you would be never in this position. And you proved it to us most of all. I love to regress. And I always kick myself in the butt I'm like, I watched the VDT. I'm like, regress, but he's right. Just, you got to risk it to make more. And you're still so much farther ahead of where you were. And I really learned that from like Uncle Mel and the Hawaiians. Man, they press, and I'm just a scared chicken shit presser. Like, I need to be better. And then the one time I actually did, I made $7,000. It was insane. And it felt scary and also very exciting.
I like that guy. Let Diane answer you, John.
Oh, it's just that example though. It's the risk versus the reward. But so when you get punched though, I mean, if you make that 7,000 in Jen's example, you're giddy and high as a kite because that's a complete adrenaline rush, and you made it. But what happens when you don't make it? And the reality is that we're not all winners all the time. And that's very painful to have that money out there, and that 7 comes and you're devastated. So risking, being wise with your money and with like just, the skill 66, when you hit that, when you're risking 66 and you're able to risk at 67, going, making it look like 88, and then you come back down, you've got, it's a sigh of relief because you've got all your money back, you've got a profit, and you've got money on the table as well. So it's a triple win all across the board because I'm still there on the table, ready to go. And I don't have that when that seven comes, it's not devastating. That's the whole point. I don't want to be devastated. It's being a consistent conservative winner. That's what it's about.
So let me jump in there and ask you this follow-up question. I don't want to be devastated either. Okay. But in the example that I gave the other day, I won $7,000 and I burned 6,500. How devastated would you be if you won $7,000? If you had to throw 6,500 bucks away to make the $7,000 possible, that's what Jen's talking about. How devastated would you be? It would suck to go, I should have regressed, right? But if you're going to never regress, say, I'm just going to go after this damn thing. Would you be devastated by winning $7,000 and losing $7,000 at the same time?
But there are all different kinds of players. I mean, there's players who love to just press. There's players who love to regress. One of the challenges I try to do sometimes is, and it's based on what's rolling. So if you have a decent roll where there's points being made, I use the points and challenge myself. If a point's made, then when the next point's established, I'll go back to base and then rack in whatever was elevated at that point. And then on the next, see how far I can get that one up. And if another point is made and another point's established, regress again. The only difference is you got to, you're watching the rolls. So if mostly box numbers are hitting, then I'll keep it out there and see and try to reach a goal of my own, a personal goal. But if the roll involves fours and tens and horns, as well as the inside, then I'm going to do what I just said earlier, which is if a point's made, I'm just going to rack it all, go back to base, and try again, and just see how far I can go up and progress the way I want to progress in between points being made on longer rolls. To me, shorter rolls happen more often than longer rolls. So when points are made, you sometimes even on a short roll, you can get at least 1 point made. And that's good enough for me to get up what I could. And then when the next point's established, go back to base. So I don't know, is that an in-between between the 160 across and then the person who just press?
I suppose so. I mean, I think there's this, there's this weird, it's your relationship with that money, I guess, right? We always say, it's money you earned, right? It's really hard to earn or generate $15,000 or $13,000 at a craps table. It's really hard to. It's a miracle that you could ever generate from 160 bucks, 15 grand, and to say I generated all that, and here's and thanks for the memories, Mr. Casino, but here's $7,000 back. Right, that's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people, which is why I thought if it's going to be a same better or the come better, who typically wins a lot of money but has no real loss at the end. Pardon me. The come bettors typically never leave a lot of money out there. It takes a lot of money initially to get into come betting, but you don't leave a lot on the table when the seven comes because of the way that rhythm happens. So it's a more efficient way to win money. Although it does take more money to get started, right?
Most of the times you're tied to the 3, 4, 5 times on the odds.
Sure.
So you're not doing hellacious, pressing because you're doing come bets.
No, you're pressing the way I did it. We pressed the base, we pressed the base to get more odds, kind of thing, right? So you
a lot of times you'll press your base only if you've seen it hit once. You're like, okay, then the 6, then the come bet goes to the 6 again. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to go out. I'm going to do it again. Go to maybe to the max odds for that bet, and then you're going to go. You know what? The 6 is really hitting tonight. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make the come bet. I'm going to double the flat. Now I can start. If it goes to the 6 again, I'm going to go for it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Right. There's another
I have
key
to totally agree with Craig on that.
Okay. There's another key piece that we don't need to necessarily sidestep or ignore as well, is because and I can last show Ed Robinson in his way of betting, he doesn't regress, and
Right.
he will press, and then he'll do same bet, and then he'll press at a lesser
Full press.
aggressive amount. And then that gives him breathing room for the when he's saying betting to help pay for uh, and to catch up for whatever he's willing to quote unquote lose. And so that's a different way and a different style of betting than just press or what have you. He's stair stepping it in a way that is wise, and it similarly has the same effect that a regression would as well. So I think that needs to be put on the table as well.
Yeah, I've tried it both ways. So Ed is I played with Ed and he's so much fun. Super much younger looking in person than he is on video. I don't know what that is about, but he is very patient and he'll literally have two numbers. And Adam G, who's in the chat, he's like that too. Like he'll take just two numbers, and even if you're like, let's say it's 5 and 9, he always does the 5 and 9, and you're pounding a billion eights, he'll patiently just wait forever on the 5 and 9. But I've tried it, like Craig was saying, a come bet with when Dean the Machine, we were all at Planet Hollywood and he rolled that 40 and he was crushing the 6 and 8, crushing it. But I, for some reason, just was like a chicken shit. I had a $25 come bet and then I full maxed the 5x odds, right? So I had 125 on the odds. But then it just got to the point where I forgot to press my come bet. So I just kept doing crumb bet and I only won. And I just say only. And on a forward roller, I won $2,000. It's like, it's good, but it's really actually kind of sad because, like Ryan, he cashed in $7,000, $8,000, and he just did press, collect. But then when I went to at GVR, when we had the 58 roller and I won 7,000, there was 9,000 on felt. So that part I don't feel good about, but in the end, it's like, I don't even really remember the 9,000. I only remember the 9,000 because I wrote it down, but I'm just so pumped about the 7,000. And my friend to the right, she had 10,000 because she had the hard way press, but I didn't, and she was slightly more aggressive than I actually regressed dial-in style my 6 from like 300 down to like 60. And then I was just catch up, and I got my 6 to 1,500. So imagine I would have been table max. So I think about these things. It's like I had regressed fully. I went 120, I went to 900, I regressed all the way back to 160. And then I went to, you just go, because at that point you're so far ahead of your starting. I'm leaning into like, get ready to press when you're so far out of the hand, right? Like just go for it, let it go. And I think that's the right way. But doing the super power press right from the get-go, that's really hard to overcome when you have a series of shitty like short rolls. It's impossible to overcome.
But the same thing you're talking about with come bets and not increasing the flat, it's almost the same thing with the pass line. And let's say a bunch of buck shots are happening. You're not making money because you're not having the chance to, which I think Ed's shown it before. He'll, if he made the point of 10 or something, and 10 becomes the new established point again, he'll have the pass line odds and he'll place the 10 just so he can increase it beyond the 3, 4, 5 times. Because I'm wondering if if you're doing the come bets and you're not increasing your flat, because maybe you're not, you really have to be engaged to know when to increase your flat. So if you're just not increasing your flat, it's another form of grinding. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that?
100%. If you're come betting and you're not increasing your flat bets, you're just going to tie. Like the only way to make any money is to increase your bets, right? And so if you're going to same bet, you're going to grind, right? If you're going to come bet flat odds, you're just going to tie. If you come bet and it wins and you increase the flat and double up the odds, because now you have a chance to double up your odds, now you're making money on the bigger. That's why the bigger rolls on the come betters make as much money as everybody else does if they're betting aggressively. Dice data, and here's a question from one of our viewers here from Blart Markov. Dice Data and I worked on a thing, which he'll release it pretty soon, maybe even on our show, where we did the pass line as pass line flat, pass line 3-set or a 4-set parlay that I've shown you before. The pass line where you basically parlay the first one, then you go up 1 unit and pull, up one and pull, up one and pull. The only way, in the same set of rolls, he did the same 100,000 rolls. The only way you make money is by altering the size of your bet, right? With wins, not by chasing your losses, but altering your flat with wins, and we call it leveraging. I've talked about this all the time. Whether you're taking a win on the 6 and going from 30 to 60 or 30 to 42, that's leveraging your bankroll to make more money the next time. Whether you take that one hit and stop playing, and on the next shooter you go out with an extra $12 on both the 6 and the 8. You've leveraged your wins to make more money. You take one hit and you stop playing. And on the next shooter, you go back out again. Again, this is Jacob from Raging This Style, right? Take your wins. The next time you have more money to play with. And leverage, leverage, leverage. That's how the daily paycheck worked. That's what Dice Data shows in this analysis that we did. And I think that what I did on Friday or Thursday shows that too. The presser and the aggressive come better did the best. The flat come better did nothing. He did almost worse than the same better did. The flat come better did almost
that was
nothing.
only on a very good roll.
Right.
That was only on a very good roll.
But that's what I'm saying, on a very good roll. And again, we're always optimizing. Everybody here is optimizing for the hot roll. Unless you're playing the horseman, you're optimizing for the hot roll. So when the hot roll comes, what's the best way to lean into the hot roll? And that's what I was trying to figure out.
Are you recognizing
right?
that it's a hot roll? You
never can you can't recognize it. That's what I'm saying. You have to say, I'm going to play this way. This way, if I'm going to do a same bet and then press, collect, press, collect, I'm going to lean into what I hope is going to be a hot roll, and maybe I catch it. If I'm going to just come bet forever, I'm hoping that the come bets catch on and it becomes a hot roll. But 11 rolls in, you're like, oh shit, there was 5 6s I missed. You either have to be on it or you're not. Right? You can't.
Yeah, but if you're doing like 6
No.
6 inside, or 110 across, and you're just inching your way, and it's 5th, 6th roll gone, and they've all been box numbers, that's enough of an indication that you need to be doing something different if you really want to make money. It's no different than, well, it's different if your bankroll is dictating that you can do more. Why wouldn't you power press after the first hit? Just power press, go for it.
Sure.
If you're getting that string of box hits,
if that's your way of catching,
you can always power press
Yeah.
and then regress, and then go to start another level.
Well, there's how do I say this? Greg from 555. I remember this vividly. He made a comparison of same bet versus half press versus full press. And on the very first 3, it doesn't matter, on the very first 3 hits, he the same better outperformed always half
outperformed.
press
Yep.
and the full press. So then we should learn from that. Instead of banging our heads against the wall, let's learn from this school of hard knocks. It's not a bad thing to same bet 2 or 3 times and then half press or full press or what have you. Then because we know we have to learn these little baby steps and being dragged back to 101 all the time to get it through our thick skulls. What is really optimal for us to play efficiency?
Let me push back on you a little bit, Dylan. Let me push back a little bit. And panel, please stop me if I'm wrong here. Same betting is the only way to guarantee a win early. We've seen that. I've done the analysis. We've all seen it, right? 1, 2, or 3 hits. Stop playing. Same better has the advantage over everybody else. If you keep on going, right? if you're just going to same bet, now you get past hit 4, hit 5, hit 6. Now you're behind everybody else,
Right.
and behind by a lot. The 7 comes on roll 4, roll 5, and you're same betting, you're going to lose your ass, right? If you're same betting for a very short window and you get out, or same bet for a short window and say, now I agree with myself. I've tied. I'm going to accept the tie, and now I'm going to run for the hills and lean into this thing. Maybe that's okay, but you're gonna succumb to something ugly, right? Same betting is only advantageous if you're going to stop playing quick. If you're going to keep on going with it, you're going to get hammered, and that's the whole
No,
nickels
I
in
don't
front of the
agree with
steamroller
that.
argument.
Well, I'll let Jen talk.
Go for it.
So, I mean, I think I'm going to dissent on that because, like Hawaii Brian always says, hey, same bet if it's a 10 roller, it's always going to do better, right? If you get hammered and you're same betting, and you've already collected like 5 times, I don't see how you're worse off than people who have been pressing and now have lost because they haven't collected anything. I don't think you're worse off. I think you'll last longer if you same bet. It's just, what you said is 100% right. You have to same bet and turn it off. You have to. 2 hits is not going to recoup enough on your same bet when you're going across, right? It just won't.
Right.
You have to be choosy and predict the 2 numbers that are going to hit. So I just so let's just share. How about like the things that we've been doing that's successful this year? I've really leaned into 2 strategies that I think are really great. Wayland 678. I think that's his bankroll builder where you work to come out 6 and 8 plus a DP, all equal size. You get hammered on a come out 7, fine. You just go and ladder it up by 1. I've been doing that steadily, and I'm winning steadily money. Okay, so that's great. That's a little bit boring. When it's a 6 and 8, and you get the hit. You just pull down the 6 and 8, and you pull the 7. If the other way I've been playing is Uncle Mel Staying Alive, which is amazing, and I did that on the cruise ship. I did that for the Super Bowl when I won the $7,000. It is basically he starts with like 120 inside, 130 inside, right? You take a hit and then you reduce. So let's say the 5 comes, you win $35. You reduce, the 5 and 9 down to 15 each. Or if the 6 comes, you reduce the 6 and 8 down to 18 each. And then the next hit, you reduce the other numbers down. So now you've got down to like the 66 or 76 base. And from there, you're out. Press, right? Then your $1,000 bankroll. I think my wife only played with a tiny bankroll, and she just never cut into it. And she won $200 after 7 days. It's a really good strategy. That's like a little bit of both the dial-ins, regression, and the people who want to same bet. It's a very similar thing. You collect 35 and you bring back $30. So you're out $65 after 1 hit of your 120. The next hit, you're really out. So it's a way to go, and then you can just press to the moon and not feel bad about it.
One of the things I wanted to say was,
I don't know what's been working for you guys.
Whether you're going like, however you start your bets after a point's established, whether it's 154 inside, 66 inside, 160 across, whatever. Maybe there's been some analysis that have been done on this, and I'm not sure. What happens more often if the average is like 4 rolls after a point's established? What happens more often? 4 random numbers or one repeater? I mean, to me, playing what I've played and when I've played, I don't know. Is it a 50-50 or is it a more like a 60-40 of you at least get 1 repeater? And if you can capitalize on the 1 repeater, you can be out of the hand.
I think John has the stats on that.
On which
The
one?
repeater is quite rare. What's more probable? Do you get like 4 different scattered numbers or 1 repeater? Meaning just one.
Yeah,
the same repeated bet, not a repeater bet.
Yeah, the numbers on repeat. I think my second video of all I ever did was this one, right? The chance of a number repeating is tiny. Like for the 6 and 8, it's like 22% or something. That's how often they repeat. It's not very often, right? So getting out is the most important thing, and like the strategy that you put out there, which somebody put out there, that it's not the Hercules, it's a version of the Butterberg or the duck and cover where you take a hit, come down on 2 numbers. That's just getting the hell out, right? you're more likely, that's why I bet across, because I'm more likely to see two different numbers than the same number twice, and I want to get the hell out of the hand. So it's 2 hits and stop, or 2 hits and bring it all down to something meaningful, or something less meaningful. Like 160 down to 64 after a couple hits, I'm fine with that. Like, and that's why I think the same better is smart. Same bet for a couple, and do something intelligent with it, and then either keep playing or stop playing. Right? A don't pass with a smaller cross, 2 hits, let the don't pass write itself out, or the 66, the skill 66 with a don't. Take my 2 inside hits, let the don't pass rule the day. That's cool if you're going to grind it out. I think James Newberry had asked us earlier somewhere, how many of our panelists have a goal, right? All what we're talking about here, I think, is ways to hit a goal, right? We're talking about different ways that we can hit our goal, which is same betting or a little bit of pressing or some cum betting, whatever. The other question, though, is how, if you don't have a goal, a financial percentage goal to walk with, and if your goal to go there and make as much fucking money as I can and felt the table, your play style is different. And your relationship with the wins have to be different to make that happen. If your goal is to hit a small number and get out every single session, day, whatever, or your goal is to earn comps and not really win any money, but survive for hours and hours and hours, it's a whole different conversation. And that's why I think there's really 3 different play styles. You got your comp player, you have your I want to make my daily paycheck and get the hell out player, and you have the I want to last forever player, or I want to go after the whole casino guy, right? And some people, Ed, I know is in the audience, plays to felt the table. He's gonna ease it in, and then beat the shit out of him when the opportunity comes, right? Not everybody's doing that, and I think we got to make sure we're speaking in ways that address all those different people, right? So anyway, let's move on. Somebody had a question about double tapping. I see that. What was the question?
Because Craig was talking about the repeat, and I was like, are you talking about the double tap that BQ does?
I was just confirming, is it double tap? Because I can't remember. Is it double tap where you power press and then you're regressing?
Or you can stay up.
Yeah,
right?
It's almost like the 10 ton two hit takedown, where it's like $30, 6 and 8. You win the 35. He's pressing it to 60 on the 6, and then when he wins the 60 on the 6, you win 70, right? So 70 plus your original 35 is a $100 black chip, and he kicks it back down to 30. Gotcha. So
that's one way. That's not what I
always. Oh, not what you're talking about. Sorry.
No, I would no. If you're truly trying to go for it, right? Let's say you start with a quarter on the 5, it hits. Power press it to 75, it hits. I would go right. I would keep incrementally going up and just incrementally collecting into the rack until I've reached a personal goal. So for me, reaching a personal goal would be hitting a 150 on the 5 for 210, and then you have your choice. You can either collect 3 blacks, or just go back down to 100, collect, and now you can start like a different level. But it's interesting. We were talking about Monster Roll earlier, and John, I don't know why, I was on my work phone and I happened to have a memo, and on the memo was some of the strategies I did a couple of years ago. But one of the things was the tier pressure that you had. Mm-hmm. And I was like, my only thing about tier pressure is that you're spreading the money across numbers that may not be ever hitting. And I would rather.
No, that's not tier pressure. That's Brian's. That's the Hawaiian horn. Tier pressure does a full press of the number that hit. So a 6 comes, all of it goes on the 6. The 5 comes, all of it goes on the 5. It's 3 hits, and then the 4th hit, it all comes back. Then you regress back down to the starting point. Tier pressure is a full press on what happened, and you stop playing on the. If it hits again, you stop. That's your trigger to come back down again. It's tough, man. Those are hard ways to play. Like, I played with a guy last time I was in Vegas, and his system was literally a full press / power press, like to get to even numbers, whatever. And he never stopped pressing until one number hit for as much money as he bought in as his initial spread was. So he would just go throttle down everything on the table until something paid him 160 or more, and then he collected that one. And then he was already kind of set up and going, and he made a fortune the one or two times. Like to Brian Hawaii Crapshooters' point, right? He made a fortune when he did, but most of the time he was lighting 160 on fire because no number ever got high enough to win 160. But, you know, think about that. Going from $30 six to get it to 150 so it pays 175 and pays for your bets. You need a miracle. But that's how the guy did it, you know. That's it's not for me anyway. I don't know.
I think you'll win more. You'll win more doing $60 6 and 8 than going 160. It's a less risk, and you'll actually win more. Right? It's more.
There's too many ways to play this game.
It's this concentration versus coverage. But I think there's a ton of great comments in the chat.
There are.
Probably address them.
I'm trying to go through them as you guys are talking. I'm trying to read them.
Lighting up. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
I think someone said something about like, when are you going to be, it's like satisfaction versus, it wasn't Slim. Yeah, it's like risk appetite versus like win satisfaction. Like, you know, be satisfied. That's like Waylon's thing. I'm kind of, I'm quick on being satisfied. Like I'm just there for a bit of a win, but sometimes I feel like I'm very annoyed because I bring a very large bankroll and I'll win like, sorry, Angry Dogs. I'll win like $180, right? I'll buy it for $3,000. I'll win $180, and I'm just like, that's not very efficient, right? John would like poo me, but it is a win. So sometimes I feel like I'm grinding too much, which means I'm putting actually a lot of money at risk just to break even and grind a little bit. So anyways, that's why I've been playing Uncle Mel's thing a lot more, or 10 tons, like $60, 68, 2-hit sig down, just to get out of the hand as quick as I can. And I'm learning from, you guys how to prep. And we're talking about real playing. Like on Crapsy, I just play like shit. But, in a real table, so like I'm both conservative and ambitious. So it's like, it's good. I'm always worrying, but I try to lean in one way or another. It's very difficult to turn on the jets. I know John's really good at that. I'm terrible at that. Like I'll wait till like roll 18 and then like, oh my God, now I need to press. But then when I'm ready to press, I'll press. I mean, I won't catch up like Ed will, but I'll press.
Yeah, see, and it's
the opposite. It's like 18 rolls. Oh, I need to regress. I forgot to regress.
Right. Well, I think it comes down to, like Buckeye did say that, right, about risk appetite versus win satisfaction, right? And I think how you get to the point where you're going to start going, right? I think when it comes time to go, I think I play pretty aggressively, and I play pretty well. I have a good felt the table strategy, but my bankroll doesn't allow me to just go ahead and do that, right? I'm not running out there with an extra $25,000 in the bank that I feel like I can go and just let $2,000 run the table today, right? So I have to play more conservatively, which is why the drawdown for me is that really weird, like it's a lot of money, huge risk, very, very short time. And then I give myself the decision, play or go, right? And to me, I've gotten way more comfortable. And honestly, when I go to Vegas this week, on my way to Casino Quest to go to work, I will buy in for 500. I will go 320 across to 160 across to 64 across, and sayonara suckers, I'm going to work. That's going to be the way I play it. I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay losing the 500. I'm not okay losing $1,000, and I'm okay with winning $150, right? And that's good enough. That's a good enough diploma on the way to work every morning, and I'm happy with that. And if I can do that 4 or 5 days in a row, double my bankroll, and I had a good trip, right? I'm okay with that level of risk.
Yeah. Make sure you have a witness.
Yeah, that level of risk is great for a short period of time. I'm not going to go 320 and try and do this, right? When you talk about risk appetite, my appetite for risk is like I'm like a puppy. Like I got the zoomies. Like I'm going to burn it, and I'm done. Like give me my chew toy, and I'm done playing for right now. Like that's exactly how I want to play.
John, are you going to do this on anybody, or are you
just
talking about yourself?
No.
You're going
to
go 500.
In the group, no. In the group, in the big. And by the way, Big AZ is going to be in Vegas, right? We start Sunday. Is it? Is that when the whole thing starts, or does it start Monday? I forget when he starts. I think
starts on the 23rd. Yeah.
Okay.
23rd.
So with the group, I'll be doing the horseman the entire time. I'm not going to go out there and rip out 160 across. I'm going to settle into it, The horseman is going to be fine on all the shitty rolls, and it catches a great roll when they happen, and that's how it's going to be. I have to last. I don't have a ton of money. I don't have a full-time job. I'm going to make my money last that whole week. Now, when I'm shooting for myself on the way to work, different story. That's almost like my YOLO account versus I will not bet the horseman on you, Jen. I have played the horseman on Jen enough times to know that it's come out 7, come out 11, hit the point, ace deuce in the come. You destroy me every time.
You act like you've been sniped before, like on the March Madness.
Oh my god, I have, dude. When I every time I play with Jen and I try the horseman, when she's rolling, she takes every single bet, like literally 3 straight, craps numbers in the come, and then she snipes the point. It's crazy.
I'm well known for throwing craps numbers. Yeah, so come bets you've got to protect those come bets. So I remember I looked over to John because he's heads down, and Corey Sith Lord was like laughing, and then Filtrator's laughing. I'm like, what's wrong? Because John like mouths the "fu" with his mouth, and I'm like, what did I do? I just made the point and made a bunch of numbers. He was like getting sniped left and right. I'm like, sorry.
Yeah. Here's a great question from James Newberry, and I want a one-word answer from everybody. Ready? Why do place bettors get crushed most of the time? One word from each of you. Jen, you're up.
Get crushed.
Dilution.
Dilution. Okay, I'll have to come back and explain how that dilution. Okay, Craig?
Why do place bettors get crushed? Falsehood.
The one-word challenge.
Yeah, that's tough.
Falsehood.
Vocabulary challenge. Go to ChatGPT real quick and ask ChatGPT for a one-word answer. That'd actually be kind of funny.
Very good dialing.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. Because I don't think that I don't believe that. I don't think that's they can, but probability wise, I don't think that's. It depends on how you play. I mean, and how you bet. So there's just too many variables that.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Craps is a negative EV game, right? The casino wins more money. If you're playing straight come with odds, you're tying. If you're playing straight don't with odds, with or without odds, you're going to tie. If you're playing 6, 7, 8, you're probably going to tie. If you're playing the right side, they're going to take your money. Why? Why does that happen more often for right side bettors, straight right side place bettors than anybody else?
Because they don't think of the 7. 7's coming.
House edge and the 7. I mean, the 7 is more predominant because there's more ways to make the 7. So, I mean, that's 101 stuff.
Yeah,
people said that. So that word is probability.
Probability. I would say there's a little bit of greed. There's a little bit of maybe too much hopefulness. Right? Like these intangibles. Yeah, that's what
Craig said.
Yeah, that's how I would look at it, right? It's definitely
I don't know, gullibility could be another word.
Sure.
In regard to people thinking that all of these strategies that they're seeing on YouTube are all going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, you've heard Jeff Midland and Craps say it all the time. How many times you've been in the casino? Nobody's playing a strategy. Nobody's playing a strategy. I don't think you can call 160 across a strategy. They're just looking to place a bet on. I don't know. You're just looking to place a bet on all the box numbers. I mean,
well, the strategy is not just that.
Is a person who constantly plays the prop section a strategist?
I mean,
oh no.
What is the strategy? What is the strategy?
Because they're not only playing the prop section.
No. So no. I disagree with that. I think you'll see plenty of people who will do a straight up strategy like 6, 7, 8. I will do the staying live, which is basically the same as John's drawdown, except I half drawdowns, right? Like it's literally the same thing. But I'll play that very strictly on the cruise. Ask Brian. I was very strict. I played it thoroughly the whole time. And then when I abandon it, then I'll switch to a different strategy, like an all day or something. But I'll stick to a strategy. I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean. Like you have to be flexible and give what go with what the table gives you. I know
To
that
me,
I've played that way.
strategy is what you do with the 160 across. Just putting 160 across is not a strategy.
Yeah, the strategy has multiple components, right?
yeah.
It's where's my money going? What do I do when I win? Like that's the elements of it, right? What do you do when you win or lose? I guess, right? And I think somebody in chat asked us this, and there's actually a couple things in here, right? Dice emotion. How would you set up your bets if you only had one random roll? If I said you have one roll that's it. You're here for one roll, and I'd even expand it to 2 rolls. Are you betting just a 6 and 8, and that's it, or are you going to bet across? If you know ahead of time 2 rolls and I'm going home, what are you betting on?
If John's rolling, it's a 6 and 8 and a horn.
There you go.
Well,
It's totally ace deuce. Come on, it's ace deuce.
Yeah,
What's
right.
happening?
The ace deuce king.
Or come out 7. Oh my god.
Yeah.
yeah, that's possible.
6 and 8.
But I think that's an
it's-
important question, though, right? If it's 1 or 2 rolls versus I'm going to try and work my magic and sprinkle fairy dust on the table and win a bunch of money. It's a different lens you're looking through, and that's what he's asking us. So go ahead, Don.
I just wanted to jump in with Vegas Day Tripper's comment from earlier because I think it's very poignant, which is set your goals and play accordingly. You shouldn't have like he says, quote, you shouldn't have the, oh, I wish I had pressed or, oh, I wished I had regressed.
Mm-hmm.
Make that part of your goal. My goal is to regress after 3 hits. My goal is to press after the first hit. Have a goal. Have a goal. Have your buy-in. Again, bankroll is different than buy-in, but have a plan.
Yeah, you have to have a game plan, period, no matter what. For no matter what happens. You have to, like John said, you have to have a plan for winning, and you have to have a plan for losing. You have to have a plan, and and that's it.
But it's like Mike Tyson. Like all your plans just blow up when you get punched in the face by like a 7. You go 160 across right away, and just like, well, there it goes.
But that's your bankroll. But then your bankroll jumps in, right? So the math part of that is your bankroll accounts for that, right? That's what Jacob always says. Where you get punched in the face, you have enough bankroll to get punched in the face multiple times. Like, are you a blockhead that you can afford that, right? The way that I play on myself, no, I have one bullet, right? If I punch myself in the face with my bullet, then whatever. If you're going to play with everybody, though, for random people, like what we're saying here. Yeah, sure.
So I've been watching, it's like Lucky Shooter. The bubble craps is just a thing that's exploding on like YouTube, right? And Lucky Shooter uses your Dallas drawdown. He's using the 40-40 inside, which I'm like, okay. And I understand it has merit. You just got to get through the first roll. What I really, really hate about that, I feel like you need to invest the other $200 or another $100 to get the 4 and 10. Too often he's missing on the 4 and 10, and then a horn comes and he's waiting and waiting. He's like 6 rolls in, and it's like, if you're gonna do that huge a layout for he buys in for 500, right? And he's risking 440. I know he has 2 or 3 bullets, but you gotta just put in $50 on the 4 and 10 and get it all.
See, that's the thing. I hate not having the 4 and 10. I hate not having the 4 and 10.
That goes with what I was saying earlier about when you're watching you're watching the rolls. What let's say the rolls. Let's do 2 comparisons of 2 6 rollers. Well, was it all inside box hits, or was it an inside, a 4 or 10, and a horn mixed up all in that? Because one's going to pay you, one's not, unless you're covering, like you said, putting that minimum on the outside on the 4 and 10 just to have it there, because you want money when it hits. You don't want to sit there and trying to be playing inside and the 4 and 10 are hitting and you're missing out. I guess it's that FOMO.
Do I bring up the crapless craps? What's best?
Go for it.
60. What's best? If doing the 6 and 8, doing inside, doing across from 4 to 10, or going at a crapless, doing the whole spread across. That's you're gonna have you have to. I mean, you have to figure out what's best for you. What's your appetite, and can you afford it? Because
I don't understand people who go across on crapless. Why, if there's like extra numbers, they feel like they've got to cover that, And if you wouldn't do that on a regular craps, I mean, it's crazy
You
that you
do
have
that
covered
though,
10 numbers.
Jen. You do that though because when you have the options of you only have the options of the from the 4 to the 10, but if a regular craps table gave you those options, you'd be surprised how many people would want to go
Yeah.
across all the way too.
But
Well,
they
if you watch
shouldn't.
the
It's
March
the same
Madness, you
dilution
would have seen a
problem we
lot of
talked
them.
about.
Crapless is a different animal though, right? Because and maybe I'm part of this problem too. You get sucked into the outside numbers on Crapless, the extremes. If you're not going to play the extremes, don't play Crapless. Like that's the point of that game is to go play the extremes. The real point of the game is to play the extremes for free and be super aggressive with them. Like if you can get those bets placed after a roll or two, like I do 110 inside and go outside, and I turn my inside bets off and it just fucking let's go to the house with the outside bets because you're getting that 6-1, 3-1 out there. If you can get those bets placed for nothing, who cares about the inside stuff? Like Crapless to me has got to be a hammer time strategy or nothing. Like otherwise, why play it? You know. But again, I'm not a Crapless pro, but if I'm not going to play him, I'm not going to be there anyway.
That's definitely the wrong way to play crapless. Look, if
That's
Lou,
what I.
depends on the shooter.
There's
If I
different
shoot it,
styles.
I'm going to get you some craps. But if Lou shoots it and you're on the crapless only and you forget the inside, you're going to make $0. You're only going to lose your butt. Lou's going to hit like pound those 6 and 8, right?
Well, I'm not saying
Sarge,
to skip
only going to
those.
hit the 6 and 8.
I'm saying use those as the fuel
No,
for
you
the
just said
outside.
turn it off and you would forget about it.
Right, but you use
No,
it for
I
the
think
fuel to get to
The
the
inside's
outside.
got to feed for the outside. That's right.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But you
saying.
can never turn it off. It's like your little paycheck. It keeps the lights on while you go for, the skyscrapers. Anyways, I love crapless so much.
But I agree with Dylan. At least me, I'm not a $25 across the Crapless table guy. That seems like a little bit of foolishness.
Yeah. An iron cross will work just great on crapless, right? You can go $60, 6 and 8, hop the 5 for a nickel each, and then go a quarter on the field, and that will be enough to, feed 2 of the outside numbers if you want to, just two times of those. Slim does that. I mean, I listen to John. I try to do a triple to the 5, 6, 8 versus the field if I'm going to do it. But most of the time, it's probably more like 2.5. So
it's funny. I've seen people do 66 inside and then do a quarter on, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12 on the crapless. And they really want those hits on the outside.
Optimize that outside, right? Yep.
Yeah, there's a variety of different ways to play it. So it's
Ed's got the
different. It's a different animal.
Ed says most people forget the $20 buy on the extremes is worth it because you can press them all to 25 on the hit, right? Again, Crapless craps revolves around the extremes. That's the whole point of that game is getting to the extremes quick, getting to them free, and beating the crap out of them. Whether you stay on the inside or not, you can debate that, right? But I think you got to be out here. Otherwise, just go to regular craps. Otherwise, avoid the game.
To me, if you're going to take advantage of it, just use the inside to press the outsides.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Well, in my Crapless Bubble Craps video, that's what I did. Remember that video I did? I bought in for like $50 and I made 100, and all I did was go inside and just press the extreme, press the extreme with all the inside hits, and I made a fortune. I made those extremes were hammered. I made $100 in like 11 minutes. That's exactly how I did it.
Is this a real bubble craps or are you just talking about crapsy?
I didn't know the Crapless Bubble Craps when I was in Vegas last time. The video I put out, I filmed it live. Yeah, it was like an 11-minute live.
Haven't seen it yet.
And I started out just the insides, or just the regular, the old fashioned across at $3 a bet, and I took every win. I put $4 on the extremes, and the extreme just kept going. It was nice and easy. Anyway, let's move on. We have 2 more things I want to get to before we kick it for the night here, and one of them, Black light, yeah, I know, right?
Just agreed with you.
I know, it's great. It's awesome. We can do, let's answer Dylan's question, and then I know Brian from Holy Rollers here. I want to make sure we talk about the cruise ship stuff too. But Dylan, you have a very specific question that's going to require me to change some stuff on my felt here. So why don't you ask your question while I change the view, okay?
Well, it was a setup, and John, there's John's table, and we're going to just do two different scenarios that I'm wanting to get people's the panel's feedback and our audience feedback. The scenario is the puck is right now. The puck is off, and so we don't. Let's just throw in. It doesn't matter what the table limit is. So just throw a quarter out there on either a don't pass or a pass sign. It doesn't matter.
Throw it out for right now.
Let's get up. All right. So and now let's just establish a point. We don't have to roll numbers. Just pick something. All right.
On the
So
five.
now,
Put it right there.
all right. So five is the point. Now let's go through the don't come, and this is all about don't comes, folks, and don't come odds. So let's just pick a far outside number, and let's pick an inside number.
Okay, so it goes to the 10.
10 is fantastic. So what do most people do if when they have a don't come that's traveled, they should take odds. Okay, I don't have an issue with that. So let's take odds. We can take we can do single odds, double odds, it doesn't matter. I don't care.
We'll put $50 on it.
All right. So now let's get another DC bet.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
And now let's let that travel.
That should be bridged, John.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure you can
say,
see it, I suppose,
bridge.
right?
Amateur dealer.
There you go.
Well, I'm just trying to.
Yeah,
I'm trying to make so it fits well, right? Okay, so this goes to where, like the 8 or something?
Yeah, that's good.
Let's go to either the 6 or the 8. Pick one. I don't care.
All right. I don't have any
Okay.
nickels. Hold on.
Okay.
I got a big nickel on my table. Go ahead. Keep talking.
All right. So now we're going to take odds on that 8 as well. So
How much do you want? $60?
I don't care. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
As long as it's
It needs
proper.
to be 30. You're just doing 1x odds. 1x odds.
You want to
30.
do 1x?
Yeah, 1x odds. is
Yeah,
fine.
because you've
All right,
got
fine.
you can only win 25 on the 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so you're 1x. All right, fine. All right, now what?
Okay, so now let's say the scenario set. Let's say that the point gets hit. So when the point gets hit, that goes down. Poof. Now, this is the first scenario that is the question to everyone. Can the player? They want their don't comes. The don't comes are working always. And then, is it possible? This is the first question. Is it possible to have your don't come odds not working?
Let's put a come bet out here
It
too.
must come off the table.
I'm going to put a come bet out here as well.
Yes.
Okay, just so we can see both at the same time. And let's rewind before you go, Jen. But rewind a minute. The reason why we're asking this question is because this came up in a chat, and there was a bunch of disagreement on it. It also came up in somebody else's video where the person running the video said the wrong thing.
Right.
So we're trying to make sure we educate folks on what's actually supposed to happen here. So go ahead now, finish up.
Okay. So the first scenario is that. Or the first question should be is can the person, because this is what was in dispute, or this is what was disputed in one scenario, is that can a person freeze or say no action or turn, quote unquote, turn off their bet their odds only, and still have that don't come still be active. That
Sure.
is the question. So panelists, Jen, I'd like to hear from you, and Craig, I would like to hear your answer on that.
In my local,
There's no debate. The come has to come down. The odds have to come down.
thank you. I was just going to say that in my local, if you turn off your odds on your don't come, they will return it to you.
The odds have to come down. Yes.
So
There's no way to put an off button on it.
So there is no freezing. There is no action or
there's no off
They're
button.
not going to put an off button on your odds.
Exactly.
No,
They're going to
they
return
will
them
not.
to you on a DC.
Exactly. That was my position, that there's no way that any dealer should allow that when you say they'll say they will say you cannot do that. They will take those odds and take them back to you. Now you can put those suckers back up next roll, if you wish, at any time. There's no debate about that. So
That's right. And
But also at any time you can take it all down.
Yeah, you can take
Yep.
it all down, but then you've got to
Yep.
go back through the DC to
Sure.
Right.
reestablish it.
No, you're
That's right.
correct. You're correct, Owen.
Okay.
And I
the
deal for a
likelihood-
living, so yeah, you're correct.
Yeah. The likelihood of those bets winning is less than them losing. That's why the casino has them on by default. The come bet's the opposite.
Right.
Right. And again, if the casino defaults to something, it's probably not good for you.
Right. And
Correct.
now let's go back.
They default to this,
Now
and
that-
that's not good for you either.
Right. So now that that horse has been shot, let's shoot the other. Let's shoot the other final horse. Okay.
So many horses.
There was two scenarios here that we need that I want to make sure that I myth bust this myth. Okay. I can't see your table now, John. Can you just say something so it'll become active?
Can you see it? You can't see it now?
There you go. There you go.
See it.
Okay.
That's weird.
So now, let's say this we're getting another roll. Now let's say that the come out is a 7. Okay. So what happens now when the 7 is, well, let's see. Yeah, when the 7 is rolled, the one person that made a video said that the don't comes get paid, but the odds of the don't come do not get paid.
No.
And
That's
go
incorrect.
back, and they just go back to the player.
Oh my god.
No, that's
Nope.
the come bet.
That's incorrect. That's this guy.
Who
This
is
guy
this
gets his
person?
odds
Lose the
back
come bet, but your
Yeah.
odds
and
come
loses
back too.
that. This guy gets paid everywhere.
Correct.
Yeah, I
100%.
That's correct. That's correct. I agree 1,000% that
Yeah.
if they're up there and that 7 comes, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter if the point is on or off or what have you. When that 7 comes, your don'ts, all of the don'ts, are active and get paid when that 7
Correct.
comes. When that 7 comes.
Yes.
But this other person that made this video said and demonstrated that in that scenario, when the puck is off and they have odds that are on the dark side, that the odds do not get paid and they only get paid on their flat. And I just wanted to kill that myth.
Yep.
Or that error, because it is an error, and I want
Yep.
to make sure that everybody's on the same page on this.
And as a player, you
Are
say,
you knocking us out? Who said this? Are you? Because they're clearly 100% wrong, and if they
yeah,
disagree with you, there's nothing to disagree with. These are the rules in the book. We can definitely give you a copy of the rules of the book. I got this
Well,
big-ass book that they had to train me
was it
when I went to dealer
miscommunicated?
school.
he's a newer channel, and I didn't really want to.
Okay.
I didn't want to really rat him out, and I didn't want to have the community go quote unquote after him.
Right.
But
Right.
I just wanted to
no.
point this
Educate.
out.
They're educating.
Yes.
And I do believe also sometimes when you're making a video, trust me, and Craig will be my witness, you can misspeak. That happens sometimes, right? We misspeak. And we all know that you get your odds back and they take the flat. He might have just misspoke and said that about these bets, but for everybody else out there, Dylan's 100% right. These bets, if you say, no action on my odds, return my odds, turn my odds off, they're coming back to you for the come out roll. Or
And
any
you can
roll
do that
you
at
want
any
to.
time.
At any time. To put them back, you got to throw them back out there and ask for them to be replaced. It's kind of
If
a
they're
pain
a
in the ass
smart
to do
dealer
that.
and they know that you have the advantage, they're also going to do a follow-up question. Did you want your flats back as well on the DCs?
Yeah, that's good for the casino and bad for you, bad for the player.
That's right. That's
I'm
right.
just teasing it. Is it gargoyle? Was it totally a rookie
No,
person
it was
going?
not.
No,
it
no,
wasn't
no.
gargoyle. It wasn't gargoyle.
No, just
No,
a
like
new-
I said,
You
it's
made
a
a good
newer,
point. Is
Yeah.
It's a
One
newer
of our newer
channel.
channels.
It's a newer
Yeah.
channel.
Wasn't Jimmy, was it?
okay.
No.
Yeah.
It wasn't Jimmy.
No, so I wish it.
No.
You know what? If it was Jimmy, I would have said something. But no,
That's
it was
right.
not
No.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy would have said,
Let's all be
I think that
kind.
pays
Be
about
kind.
$11, but we'll let the casino worry about that. That's what Jimmy would have said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
yeah. Don't worry
wasn't-
about that.
We're not worried about
That's
that.
what the dealers are for.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was.
But I feel like that's not the issue. Like, I think John the other day when he did all his come bets, he said the right play, right? Because, you know, when you do your billion simulations is to work the come out odds. And I just don't agree with that because that's no different than working your place bets on the come out, right? I mean, yes, that mathematically over the long run, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense because you would work your come out place bets too.
Yeah, here's the thing.
That's
with
the right play. Same thing.
Over time, working this will work out for you, right? Over time, and when I say don't work the place bet odds, or the place bet, here's why. If you're this person that has all the across, or maybe you're here, maybe you've got your 6 and 8 pressed up, and you've got the 4, whatever. Who cares what you have, right? If you've got some place bets out there, and the 7 comes, and you get whacked, which will happen. That sucks. That's 160 out the door, right? And you go, okay, same bet. You go, here's another 160, right? And do it again. If you're that person, working the come out is going to kill you because 7, 7, 7. You'll get the 3 in a row, right? If you're going to work the come out in your place bets, fine, do it once. If you're working the come bets, and again, the casino turns that odds bet off because it's beneficial to them, not for you. Over time, this bet ends up being...
They turn off your place bets too. No, that's not true. That's not true. They
also beneficial for them.
It's just a rule of engagement.
Yeah, but again, it's if something's done by default, there's a mathematical advantage for the house, not for you. Same with the place bets, right? If you're going to keep replacing them, you fall into the trap of multiple 7s. But on a per come out roll basis, you've got 24 ways to win and 6 ways to lose. It's better for you to have them working. You're more likely to get a win than a loss. And over time, that's a better...
You're way more likely to get a loss on the 7 on the come out than you are to win your come bet. That is not
I'm talking
true.
about the place. I'm talking about the across better.
To your come bet.
No, I'm talking about the across better.
Oh my goodness.
This guy here is more likely to win one of these bets than lose them all. Correct. True or false?
True.
Very, very true. 24-6 chance to win one versus lose one, right? They're off.
The risk is disproportionate, though.
It is. It is. For sure. The come better.
This is like a deposition, right? When you can only answer yes or no, but the truth is it's not a yes or no question.
This person here, you're correct. There's more ways to lose this bet than win this bet. But this right here, this bet here is the invisible one, right? It's worse for this bet. This bet here is invisible. Over time, that bet is a zero-sum game, right? Take the chance when you get a chance to take it. That's the reason why you do it. This bet is invisible. Take the chance.
Yeah.
I've done the simulations.
I have never seen you work. Have you worked your come out? I think you do work them out, actually.
I always work.
You do work your best.
It was one of those things where
I think you also get hammered.
I do.
On the come out.
I do. Yeah. It was a thing where sometimes you find things out by. I should probably turn the camera back on, but there's times when you find things out by mistake. Like when I did in Windcrafts, I was trying to prove somebody wrong on something else. And I had this working the whole time. And every time I ran it, I'm like, God, this guy's making a fortune. Why is this guy who's leaving this come bet odds on making so much money? And then I went back and did it again. And I'm like, yeah, it's definitely, this is an advantageous thing to do. It's not advantageous for John because John has shitty luck.
Working the place bets on come out is advantageous over time. Yeah. We understand that.
Yeah.
So, but they're both the same. It's the same leg of the same argument. So you have one argument where you're like, don't work the place bets on the come out, right? But then you say work the odds bet on the come out.
I would say work the place bets on the come out one time.
It's a paradox.
Yeah. Let me go back over here so you can see us all. You don't need to see my table anymore. I would say
you only get one chance at that, right?
Well, I'd say work the place bets.
You're working the come out every time.
Yeah, if you work the place bets one time on the come out,
you do?
That's fine. If you're going to be a come out working,
I don't think you do that.
I don't. If you're going to be a come out working guy,
I know you don't do that.
No. For the place bet player, if you're going to work the come outs, do it one time. Right? If you're going to keep going and going and going and going, that's where you get hammered. I don't work my place bets on the come out, but I work come bet odds on the come out.
It's a paradox of yours. It's okay.
Can I switch gears for a second? What are you guys' feelings for when the dealers yell, always working unless you could call them off?
For the hard ways?
Or or the hard ways, or what have you. Do you, in that scenario, is it almost the same? Is it a kissing cousin of what we're talking about, or is it completely uniquely different, or how do you guys feel about that?
I don't differ. If
I
they're,
think
I've been, Maryland Live has done that before, Jen, saying that your hard ways are working. Just tell them, turn them off.
But is it advantageous for the player to turn them off or to always have them work?
Make it a buffalo, and then you can work it.
There you go.
I don't think there's an advantage one way or another. That is a very poor bet. The house edge is extremely
It's a poor bet
high.
anyway.
But if you're going to bet it, you want to make sure it would be awful for it to hit, especially you've got a press to miss out. So with Ryan, for example, Mark the point, he had $100 on his, and I said, please don't work that. Hop it instead for like a nickel each,
there it is.
$5 each, or
So,
whatever.
You're like a soothsayer,
Please don't
Jen.
work that. Yeah.
You're like a soothsayer.
No,
Ed
that's from
said
Ed.
it
I mean, I
as you
think
said.
Not many
that
people
from Ed,
remember
yeah.
that. There are casinos that, and they're rare, but there are casinos that will let you hop, even though they don't have hop bets on the layout. You just have to ask.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, but like I said, Ed said it as Jen said it. Hop them. Turn them off and hop them for less. You can still make out especially with huge place bets. Yeah. Huge place bets especially.
Yes.
Yeah, Maryland defaults
I
off.
did that
Vegas
too.
defaults on. Yeah.
So when I hit the $1,500 8, I hopped it like every come out for
Sure.
quarters. It kind of cost me, but I just didn't want to work that $1,500. I had $9,000 on the felt, so I turned everything off and hopped the really big things, and it was just worth taking that chance.
It's a genius move.
I think it's really dangerous. It's dangerous to have. I think not dangerous. There's more conflict when you have a working unless you call it off scenario than the other way around, right? Because people are so used to it being off that if you have a place that says that, they have to say it very consistently every time. Otherwise, you're just arguing and arguing. And I feel like I did that. We had a cruise ship where it was just always arguments, and it took like 20 minutes to resolve it.
It's awful.
It really crushes the table when you do that. It's the worst. And it's like, it's ugly, and you're like, $5, who cares? Everyone throw them $1.
You look at those hard way bets, there's so many ways to lose those damn things versus win them. And when they're on, unless you call them off, people forget. You're right. It just causes so much consternation unnecessarily. And again, they're just trying to screw you. They're hoping that you're getting a drink and all of a sudden you lose. That $6 adds up over time, or whatever you got out there on those things, right? The casinos they're just holes. Just gonna say that.
20% house edge, yeah.
Yeah, right. All right, last topic. We're running a little late here, but last topic. I do want to get to this because we talked about it in the green room before we started today. And Jen, I'll let you kick this one off. Let me actually turn off that and put this up. And let's talk about comps and cruises a little bit. And we were talking about people who play for comps, specifically on cruises, to win the free cruise versus just playing to win. Jen, go ahead.
I think that's a debate. And it's something I want to talk to Holy Roller more about, because I feel like at some point you lose the perspective. You're always chasing that comp and chasing that free cruise. And the free cruises will come if you actually just play for the cash. Play to win the money, and then the comps will come anyway. And then I think Holy's argument is that, but you don't get the beauty of that free play when you win that free certificate and you get that $1,000 free play. I'm like, but that's not money, right? You're going to throw away $3,000 chasing those comps and winning that $1,000 free play. That's not real money. And you'll be lucky to get 50% of it back, right? For our free play. Like, that's a great turnaround on free play. So this year, and last year, it messed me up so much, you guys. I really was like, oh, but that's okay. I lost all this money because I had 18 cruises and I had all these fancy free rooms that I never really slept in anyway. But I got, $80,000 in comps. I lost like 20,000, 25,000. So it's like, oh, that's okay. I didn't really lose. No, I'm a big loser. So this year, forget about the comps. I just realized that my wife played 3 hours on our last group cruise together, 3 hours, and she still won a free certificate for a cruise next time, and she risked no money, and she won, $300. So I'm like, I'm just gonna play for cash this year. And every session this year, every single visit I've had, I've been up because I'm forgetting about the comps. And those of us who chase comps, I think that's something we need to think about what we're doing. Are we gambling to win money? Are we gambling to have fun? Or are we gambling to, be treated fancy? But in the end, that doesn't even matter. It's all elusive.
But would you agree if
Illusion.
you're really trying to go for, and I'm talking more land-based because I've never been on a cruise, but if you're really chasing comps, you really need to make sure that you have a good average bet.
You're 100% right. But, there's ways to do it without going 160 across for like 10 hours because it's really the time. If you can do a big bet, but you can't last very long, it's not going to work. So if you're going to do that, you could 2-player system that. I've seen people do that. It's very successful. Well, they'll do a don't pass, and somebody else will be at opposite end of the table doing a pass line. And they just do reverse bets, right? That works well. But if you're a single player, try the all-day strategy that Crappy the Craftsman and Jeremy came up with from Color Up. It worked, and that's what my wife uses. Do it at the $25 level. It's 4 bets. It's a $100 average bet. You can play that for hours and lose nothing. It's very similar to John's Hedgeless Horseman. Very, very similar.
You just play all day, and they win. They win. Look at Ken ran Horseman now. The Horseman's like 30-0 or something on Ken's channel. That thing just wins a little bit at a time, and you're pretty safe the whole way through with big giant average bets, and it's good. I don't know. The cruise thing is a tough one because you got 7 days to last, right? So to me, finding a way to play on a cruise that you can last for 7 days with, unless you're going to go out there and win your free cruise the first day and then not play anymore and just enjoy the cruise, which is also a strategy. Go out there hard and heavy on day one, get your certificate, and then just chill out by the pool the rest of the time and enjoy the cruise instead of going to work every day in the casino like you're trying to earn that thing, or play the $100 Horseman or $100 all day and have fun at the table with your buds and do your thing, but you're going to grind it out. You're not going to win any money. You're just going to grind it out like your wife did, right? And come out with the free cruise. It really just comes down to what do you want the experience to be ultimately. And I think you've landed on something that I was on a long time ago, which is all these comps and other stuff it just sprinkles on the ice cream. You know what I mean? You just don't need it. Let your host take care of that shit for you. Have a host, play at a good level. Your host will advocate for you and get you the rooms and the food and all the things. Just play to win. Just play to win, and your host will take care of you. The casinos love that.
Well, we need to get the other side of that as well. We need to have them both back on. Is it Mark the Point and
Brian?
Holy Roller.
What's his name?
Yep.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, forgot his name. But yeah, we need to get those.
Well,
we have to get the other side of the coin as well, Jen. I mean, we just can't say.
I would love that.
Okay. It's not just cruising. It's not just cruising skill. It's in general comps. The comp system in general today is all a math game anyway. It's all computerized. It's not like the old days where they would see you playing and give you, you hungry? Go get some food, like it used to be. Now it's all time. And again, the big factor is time. Your average bet by the time you're playing there, right? And we all know that. Land-based casinos are even tighter. At least a cruise ship, you're going to get a free cruise, and with a free cruise comes 14 or I guess 21 meals, and the meals are not like fucking buffet meals. Like the meals are like legit
3-course meals.
Yeah, and like, hey, that steak looked good too, and they go, oh, do you want one of those? And here comes another meal for you. Like you're getting way worth the comp on a cruise. On a land-based casino, you're lucky to get a piece of pizza for all your play, and maybe a free room. You got to fight for it. Like I said, on a land-based casino,
wait for that 2-time comps on the rewards.
Well, but again, all that stuff to me boils down to I'd rather have a host that's going to advocate for me and knows my play than trying to chase down these 10x multiplier weekends and doing all this crazy shit because it's all a game. It's all a game to get you in there. Have a host that cares about you. Hosting groups. Your private host will get you the same stuff or more and all you got to do is show up and play and not fart around with what's my average bet and all that shit. We do that for you, right? That's an important piece to
But
the
when
puzzle.
I use a host,
you know?
but John, if I use you or I use PCH, and John's right, like even if you don't play at all, Tina can call up the host at PCH, right, Premier Casino Hosting, and they'll get her a cruise anywhere, and it costs her like pennies on the dollar. So she barely plays. I mean, it's really because she's attached to me. But if I use a host, then I feel an obligation to put my butt at that table for a while. And I don't do it at some pansy little $66 inside. Sorry, I mean, that's an amazing strategy if that's what it is for you. But I can't do that when my Paris hotel was $3,000 for Craps for the Cure. I can't play 66 inside. I'll never be invited back. And I don't mind that, not being invited back. I just feel like the casino host went through a lot to get me into that room, to kick somebody else out, to give them not as good a room, and there I made them no money, right? So
a host expects you to play.
So
the host, your host needs you to play. You're going to have a host as a low roller, and they're going to get you station casinos rooms. They're not going or Palace Station room. You're not going to get the win, right? As your play gets better and your buy-ins are bigger and your bet sizes increase, the hosts will just take care of all the white noise for you. But you got to play. You can't have a host, like you say, and go out there and play, 44 inside and hope for a miracle. That's not what they want, right? They need you to be playing. Matter of fact, Casino Quest is doing a VIP service now, and the same thing. It's like you've got to buy in for $2K. There's no hedge betting allowed, kind of thing. Like you're there to play, right? You're there to play, and that's what hosts expect. But that's where you'll get not so much comps, but you get services. The casino will give you nothing on your own, unless you're chasing the multiplier weekends. If you're chasing multiplier weekends, God be with you. Give you one of these, and I mean, that's just what it is,
that's
right?
Next weekend, guys.
And you've learned it, but you've learned it, Jen, over the course of years. Like I've always avoided trying to play for comps because I think comp play makes you play differently than your normal play. If you're worried about that stuff, you're either going to do something dumb, or you're not doing enough, or you're doing the wrong thing. Just play. VDT is saying it out here too. Just play. Just play. It'll come. It'll come. Yeah, we should all play next week. For sure. Yes, and this is true too. I wouldn't say F the host, but they're not your friends. They're in business, right? They're working their asses off to make money, right? The money they make is by you playing at the tables, right? It's all incestuous, right? But that's the point, right? If you want the stuff, you gotta play. Anyway, you're in Vegas tomorrow. I'm coming into Vegas Thursday afternoon.
I'll be there Monday or Sunday. Yeah, we'll meet
Okay.
up. Yeah, it'll be fun. We should do a collaboration or something. That'd be great.
Totally. Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it'll be interesting to check in with VDT also on like how much better he does this year, because this year he's decided to also put comps like out of the equation. I always use comps to lower the house edge, and that is an argument that's been made before, and I think that's fair, right? If you're going to get back $100 steak dinner and all the rooms are free, then maybe the edge has been smoothed out. It's something they give you for free, but you didn't have to shell out the money. So yes, but if you win in the first place, it would be cheaper to just pay for your room, pay for your meal, right? Than throw away $10,000 just to get a free room.
Yeah, agreed. All right,
stop
that's
partying.
All right, I'm going to bring it back over here. I'm going to check the chats for one more time for questions we haven't gotten to yet, and if not, we can have our final thoughts and get our Sunday nights back, huh? What do you think? Wow, there's a few questions in here, it looks like. Let's see.
Aria Sky. So VDT has an Aria Sky Street. Jeez, the thing is, when I do it, I'm like the most pedestrian. I don't even ask my host for anything fancy. I'm like, King, non-smoking, please. Any room will be fine. And here he's getting like Sky Street. I don't ask because then I feel even more obligated to play bigger, right? I feel like 160 across is absolutely inadequate. I need to go 150 on a 6 and 8, and then like hop a bunch of stuff. And then I have to go win that on bubble craps first, so I can throw it away at the table. And it's just been this cycle of always losing. And yeah, at some point you're just like, is your time worth this to get a free room? You know, like how much do you make an hour? And here I am grinding away $3 an hour. It's just not worth it.
John, how is your training going so far with the hosting? Where are you at with that?
Well, the cruise I was going to be on this past weekend was going to be my training cruise, so that's been pushed back now to July. So I'm working through it. I decided not to go on this last one just for financial reasons. Saving my coin and using my time to make money on the land, and I'll go in July.
So they haven't really set out, or you really don't know, or do you know the formula of what they quote unquote expect the players to? Okay, well, can you go into that one more time?
I can't share too much specifics, but there's a number to it. So basically, what the casinos want is what they call it. They call it a theo, the theoretical average loss, right? You might have heard the term ADT, average daily theoretical. That's basically a calculation of your average bet times your time at the table. And by the game you're playing, it's how many resolutions they can expect per hour. So slot machine's easy to do. That's like, whatever they're getting 200 and some spins an hour on a slot. On a roulette table, it's about one resolution every 30 seconds. So most of the time it's between 100 and 120 resolutions an hour. Craps is different based on what you're playing. So a little slower. But the host and the casino are looking for some kind of an average theoretical. Let's say that you are a $2,000 buy-in, $100 average bet player. Right, your theoretical average daily loss, if you played for 4 hours a day, might be $50 or $60, depending on what you're playing. Right, it might be bumped up to 120, depending. And we look at that over the course of, if I got you a room and you're there for Monday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm expecting you to play for 6 hours each day. Your average theoretical loss is 50 times 6 times 3. Right, that's what the casino sees you as, that number. The hosting, the host that got you the room and all that stuff gets a piece of that. Not your actual play, but the casino says, we know Dylan. He comes in here and he's worth whatever that number, whatever, I made up a number, $600 a day for the weekend, so $1,800. He's worth $1,800 to us as a projected loss. Based on that projection, the host is going to get some percentage of that. Maybe it's 10%, 20%, whatever it is. So for me to get you the room, that's what I got. Now, if you go in there and you don't play 6 hours a day at your average bet, the casino still pays me, but you ain't coming back next time. Like the next time we ask for your room, it's not happening. And that's why there's that relationship. Like we worked hard to get the room and all that kind of stuff and make sure that you're doing it. And if it's not happening on the backside of it, the relationship goes sour, right? But that's why hosts and the players have a relationship. And it's important too. If you move, you got to tell your host. Because your host, it matters. Like, let's say I'm staying at Harris, and I'm playing at Harris, and we all decide, oh, let's walk down to Paris real quick. Cool, let's go to Paris. We got to call your host. Hey, dude, we're moving to Paris. We're going to go play at Paris for the next few hours. The host actually calls Paris and says, Dylan's coming. Keep him coded. So your play counts for your stay. And that's it. The whole thing has to happen in a rhythm. And there's a lot of work behind the scenes that makes that happen. But the next time you call, room and dinner, or next time you call, it's a limo at the airport, because you're sticking to what your expectations are, and you're seeing it. Ultimately, everybody, you are all dollar bills. You are walking around dollar bills to everybody who talks to you, the host of the casino, right? And it's up to you to kind of make that dollar bill more reliably spent. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. But they don't actually say X time. We want you there X amount of time.
No, but they expect your theoretical. Your theoretical space. So here's a good example, right? So we went to, we had a private table a few months back, and we all went out there, and I was not part of the group, technically speaking, that was on the private table. I was around town, but I wasn't part of that group. I didn't play very much. Right, I was playing around other places, and I was doing other things. I was working with David and stuff, and I got a call like, "Hey, why weren't you playing? When you were at the table, you weren't playing what we expect. You were regressing too much." from the host. This is right. And I'm like, I wasn't there as part of the group. I was just hanging out, shaking hands and kissing babies. I didn't realize I was expected. I didn't think my Theo was part of the day, but it was. And so I got a phone call like, hey, you got to make sure you're part. If you're going to be on the table with the group, you got to play with the group. You can't go out there and go 66 inside and regress to 44 and expect that they're going to want you back, right? And I'm like, I didn't, I wasn't. Just know that that's a real thing. Even if you are already a host, the expectation is still there. That answer your question?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Jen, you got experience
I think
with
that's a really good
hosts,
tip
so,
to call. Yeah, I think I'm very considerate of my hosts. So if they've made some effort, like I will always call them or text them and say, book me as a walk-in at Durango, even though I'm at GVR. If I don't do that, they get no credit for my play at Durango, which is even though it's part of Palace. So I have a host that Caesar at Paris, but I'll often play at Planet Hollywood, or sometimes I'll go down to Harris. I'll let him know to just make sure he gets the credit. Otherwise, it's a shame. I've already played and he gets nothing, right? So it's like he's not going to whine about it. He's not going to be happy about it. But I know I'm like literally taking money that easily could have been his out of his pocket, right? Like nobody gets that commission, right?
Right.
Just nobody gets it. So might as well give it to him. It doesn't cost me anything. But again, if I'm thinking about it, that means I'm thinking about too much about comp. So it is very tempting to just book your own room and then tell your host about being a walk-in. I feel like that's way less pressure because then they don't have to overcome your room rate. So let's say your average circle came out to $1,800, but your room was $2,000. They're not making a lot of money because you've sucked up some, or the cruise. I think the room is different because the rooms are kind of free.
Yeah.
But the cruise, if the cruise was $5,000 and you averaged a theoretical of $6,000, there's only a $1,000 net for that, right? So that one's just a little bit different.
Yeah, and that's a good call, Jen, too. Like for example, like Craps for the Cure is an interesting one because we all went out there for that. And we're not playing. We're at Casino Quest for 10, 11 hours, right? So you're asking for a room and not really playing. It's better not to use a host for that. Just go out there and get your room with your own points, and that way you just play when you play. It's not I'll never do it again with a host that weekend because it just makes no sense because when you're not at Casino Quest, you're sleeping because you're so freaking tired from working the event, right? So you're just not getting the play in. That makes it worth it. So Brian asked a good question here. He says, if you're and Jen, you're a consistent winner. Would your host cut you off if you win all the time?
Yeah, right. that is like not even a real question. The host would be so. I used to think that, and I actually still kind of mess around, and I do kind of like. I hope no hosts are listening, but I'll sneak green chips into my pocket all the time because I'll book a loss even if I've won. But it messes up with your win-loss statement. It's like there's a lot of reasons not to do it because land casinos just do not care if you're winning or losing. They just want you to play. I think the cruise is different. Some places they're like, oh, you're just a winner all the time. They're gonna harass the host. So no, never been harassed about winning too much. Are you kidding? Like Eric was psyched when we won like 7,000, 10,000 from GVR. Like his money went way up, right? So he's all about that. And GVR was fine too. They know you're coming back. They don't think you're going to be a consistent winner. But this year, and I'm just gonna put it out there, I'm gonna win this year. Like hell or high water, I'm gonna make sure. I'm going to book a win for the
Come
year.
into positive.
I can't stomach another losing year.
Yeah. So Dice Emotion.
It just comes down to discipline.
It's a great question here. What level of craps do you have to play to have a host? It doesn't matter, honestly. But here's the truth of it. If you're a low-level craps player, if you're buying in for 1,000 or 600 or 500 and you're playing $10 tables and you're sweating the $10 table, which a lot of us do, right? Admittedly, you're not going to be getting Super Bowl weekend at Harris. Your host will work for you. You'll get off-strip rooms. You'll get weekday rates. You'll get what we call the casino rate. So you won't pay the advertised price. You'll pay a lower price for your room, but you'll pay something for your room. The host will still work with you because the host's job is to give you a good experience, right? Enjoy your time in Vegas. Enjoy your time on the cruise. Enjoy your time in Biloxi, wherever you're going. Have fun. Hopefully you win, so you can leverage the next time. We want you to win and become that bigger player over time, right? Over time, the bigger players $2,000 to $5,000 buy-in people are not regressing. They're buying in and they're playing to win. And that's higher theo for the casino. Sure, you're going to win some, right? The other question that Brian asked, right? You'll felt them sometimes, right? But most times you're not. That's what they're looking for, right? But us lower limit players have a host, but don't expect, the $95 baked potato at Fontainebleau. You're gonna get Guy Fieri's burger at the Link, and you're gonna have half a room rate. But that's okay.
And you're gonna like it.
And you're gonna like it. But honest to God, if I'm going to Vegas though, right? If I'm going to go to Vegas for a weekend and I don't have a ton of money, and I get half off my room, and I get a couple of meals, I'm down with that. If that's what I'm worth, that's what I'm worth, right? So just don't expect all the high roller treatment. But a host will absolutely work with you at the lower levels too. There's no minimum to play with a host. It's just,
that's only true for independent hosts. So John's saying anybody that's breathing and walking, he'll take you. But like a casino host at Caesars or like wherever,
it's different.
If you're kind of a low roller, they don't have time for you because they're not going to make any money for you.
Different story. Yep.
So that's it. Yeah, it's not going to work. But if you play, you'll at least get a discounted room, and you'll just get through like the app, right? As opposed to a host. A host, they make minimum wage. I mean, they're not going to make any money off you, so they really need someone who can get them a theo. So yeah.
Everything
I think what Brian was saying
is commission based.
His friend was overcomped. If you're overcomped, it means you did not play enough to warrant your $5,000 room, right? That's what that means. And that's what Sunset was saying is, hey, you guys are regressing. What the hell is that? We were expecting you to hyper press, right? Yeah.
Right.
Sorry about my
All right. Good deal.
Man.
Let's
any other questions?
Yeah, let's
no more questions.
Let's have Holy roll it back. I really want to debate this like comp, no comp thing. Maybe you can get VDT in as like a witness protection type of guest, walk him out.
Yeah, no question. No, we'll get him on. It's good to have the debate, I think, to just get it out there and like let us ramble on like idiots. Let Brian get pissed off, and then he'll come to us in chat. I guarantee our texts are blowing up right now. Brian's like, "You guys are dumbasses," blah blah blah, and we'll have him on. We'll talk about it. But it's good to make people think about stuff, right? That's the whole point. So, all right, let's do our final thoughts here. What do y'all? I'm going to go around the table here, and we'll do our color coming in, and let's go with Craig first. What are your final thoughts?
Oh, here? Me. Color coming in
on the hook here.
On the fly. My color coming in is going to be. Dealers can suck it. I am so tired of them telling people that they're going to stop play and move on from a shooter if they're not hitting the back wall. And they'll let the shooter 7 times not hit the back wall. But because that final one was a 7 that barely made it past the cum area, they're certainly going to count it and not say no roll. And it's total BS. Happens more often than you think.
That's pretty good. That is funny. I had a guy comment on a video of mine from like 3 years ago. As a former dealer, if I saw somebody not hitting the back wall, I would blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, good for you. Like, you want to be a power trip? Like, what? You're right. I'm so down with you. All right, Jen, your final thoughts.
Yeah, play to win money, please. The first thing is win the money because you'll have fun. People who say, oh, I lost so much money, but I had so much fun. Well, maybe, but you would have even more fun if you were actually winning. So play for the winning, play for the money, which means some discipline. Find a strategy that will work for that. Limit your losses, and that's it. And this year, I'm going to book a win. So I'm really going to aim to book like a $10,000 win this year, like not including comps, just an actual cash win.
I love it. Dylan, your final thoughts.
Just be content. Don't be greedy. When you get greedy, you get your mental facility, your faculties just don't work right, and you're going to lose. and that's not what we're here to do. So just be content with and there's nothing wrong with being a consistent conservative winner. Within your means. That's part of the puzzle and part of the pie or whatever. And And so we just got to be content with small things, and those things we can leverage. We know we can leverage to get bigger and better, and that's what it's all about. So don't be greedy, be content, and be a winner.
Well stated. Well stated. And I think that dovetails into something I say every day, which is have a goal, right? And your goal, I say this, it's like a broken record. Your goal can be to win a little bit of money all the time. Be content, not be greedy, what Dylan says. Your goal could be to win a daily paycheck or win consistently. Like Jen says, I want to show up as a winner for the year, right? Your goal might be to felt the table. VDT, I'm talking to you, right? That might be your goal. If you've built the bankroll through being conservative and disciplined and all that stuff, to have the bankroll to go out there with a new goal, which is to go balls out, cool. Like, I think that's fantastic, right? I think that's what this all comes down to for me, is that your goal can be anything, but stick to it. Know what it is and stick to the goal, right? And your strategy can be anything. It could be one hit and walk. It could be 160 across forever. It could be come bets at max odds. It could be like Blacklight and hopping the crap out of what he thinks is going to come. I don't care what it is. Practice it, enjoy it, have fun with it. Enjoy your time. This is supposed to be fun, not work. I'll leave you with that. One last thing before we go. I forgot to do this earlier, but before we do the outro music, we have to visit our friend. On your way out the door, everybody, hit the like button, please. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to the channel. And I know that somebody earlier gifted some memberships out. I saw that go flying by. I think it might have been Nemo again.
It was Nemo.
I missed it when it happened. I saw it go flying by. I appreciate that so much. It matters.
Thank you, Nemo.
Yep. Follow the animal. And before I leave, one more last thing. Everybody who's dealing with something health-wise, get well soon. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. God bless everyone of y'all out there. Hit the like button on your way out. We'll see you next time. The animal video is gone.
What?
It's gone. What happened to Animal? I can't find him.
Here's an
Shoot.
addendum. Here's an addendum. Be disciplined and stick to your plan.
There you go. All right, all. See you later.
Let's see Craig do the animal.
Yeah, you do it.
Like.
Like.
Yeah, everybody does
Oh,
like.
no,
like.
more like. There you go.
That's the new intro. See you next week, everybody.